Club in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
David Johnson inside the Rebels. Rebels 247 Sports. DJ joins us on the Dos Equis guest line. Ole Miss coming off a 25-point loss to LSU. And the second half was not kind to Ole Miss as LSU did what they wanted on both sides of the ball. Now they get ready to go to A&M. Good thing for Ole Miss. A&M is playing some awful football. And looks like they had some more guys suspended and really don't know what they want to do on offense or at the quarterback position, so this could line up for Ole Miss. We welcome in David Johnson on the Dos Equis guest line. And, David, let's start with the wheels. They fell off in Baton Rouge. Were you surprised? I bet you weren't surprised that LSU could win, but were you surprised that it trended that way in the second half?
Yeah, I really was. I mean, you look at this Ole Miss team and, they went to Baton Rouge unbeaten. And, I thought LSU could win that game, but I really had the scenario in my mind. It would be a field goal at the end. It would come down to the very end. It'd be a dogfight. Certainly wasn't that. And, it raises concerns for Ole Miss fans because of the strength of schedule through the first 7 games. The Rebels went 7-0, exactly like what everybody thought they would do. And then, this first test of this major 5-game stretch to end the season, they failed miserably. So, they'll try to rebound Saturday night at College Station. And, Jimbo Fisher and A&M, I mean, what an enigma. They signed the best class in America. They have talent out the wazoo, but they can't seem to ever get a quarterback. And that's been the crux of their woes. And Ole Miss is walking into a situation Saturday night there where they're probably starting a true freshman. He was a 5-star, but still a true freshman. And it's a chance for Ole Miss to maybe exercise the demons that they experienced down in Baton Rouge and, get back on a winning track. If they can win, they're 8-1. They have an open date coming up, and then they get Alabama and Oxford. So all goals are still intact for this Ole Miss football team, regardless of how you feel with how they played in Baton Rouge. They can still win the West, and all they have to do is win.
David Johnson, inside the Rebels 247 Sports on the Dos Equis guest line. Tell me about injuries going into the A&M game, who you think is going to play and who isn't.
Yeah, it's really frustrating because, Lane Kiffin, he doesn't speak on injuries. And he'll brush you off in a heartbeat if you ask about him. But, Zach Evans, obviously not well. He did dress for the game Saturday down in Baton Rouge, but he didn't play. He had a big knee brace on. The question is Zach going to be good to go Saturday night in College Station? Or do you look at it like this? You go, okay, he's not going to be good to go. Don't put him out there and get him banged up. And let's give him, what essentially would be 3 whole weeks to kind of heal up before the Rebels play Alabama. Ulysses Bentley, the other running back, with a hand injury, he's fine as far as his legs go, but the concern there is with the hand injury, whether or not he can pass block or not. So that's limiting his reps in games. Those are the big ones right now. You want to get those 2 backs healthy to help Quinshon Judkins in the backfield. On the defensive side of the ball, everybody's bruised, beat up, banged up. It's the middle of the SEC season. You'd like to see Cedric Johnson be full go Saturday night against A&M. He was very limited Saturday at LSU. But Ole Miss is not experiencing anything that any other team is not experiencing. I mean,
True.
It's go time. I mean, it's week 9 of the college football season, and you are going to have injuries, and you got to fight through them.
Jackson Dart, still young, played well in the first half, then had some guy, Miss Mingo wide open. It's just, do you chalk this up as learning curve, his first big-time road game in the SEC, and it happens to darn near every QB, David?
Yeah, you do in a way, but, I mean, you got to find a way to harness those overthrows, because those overthrows, the ones you just mentioned, they were just as costly as the interception in the end zone. And, it's a growing process. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's 19 years old. So, you got to soak it in. And no matter how many games he played in the Pac-12 last year, he never experienced an environment like he saw at Tiger Stadium. He didn't experience anything like he's going to see at College Station Saturday night. He's a very talented but young quarterback. And, they're going to be growing pains. And I think you saw some of those Saturday. There were hints of those all throughout the first 7 games of the season. But, with A&M, I think Ole Miss is going to go in there and really plan on running the football and throwing it when they want to, because A&M secondary, they're one of the best in the country. They're ranked 12th in the nation. They're very opportunistic. So it only makes sense that if you can run the ball, which I think they're 45th against the run, and Ole Miss is 3rd in the country in rushing offense, you run the football. So if I'm Jimbo, I'm basically trying to do what LSU did. I'm trying to stop the run and put the game in the hands of Jackson Dart and capitalize on mistakes. So, it's a good chess match Saturday night for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. Like you said, Wigman's a true freshman, and deer in headlights last week. Although I didn't think David Jimbo Fisher did him any favors with the short period of time that he was in there.
Jimbo, he's got a reputation for not doing favors for quarterbacks.
It's a good point.
He has kind of established himself as somebody that's awful hard on their quarterbacks, maybe kind of stunts their development because of how hard he is. Wigman grew up an Aggie, from an Aggie family. I don't even think he considered going anywhere else other than A&M. Number 2 quarterback in the country in that class. He's going to be a good one if Jimbo doesn't ruin him.
Okay. You think Dart? So I think this crowd will be good, but not great by A&M standards because they're rabid. Look, some of the errors, but the balloons popped and so on. Is that kind of what you're expecting? I mean, now they can get rowdy if you give them something to be excited about. But I don't think this will be an on the edge, rabid fan base like they usually are. How do you see it?
I would expect they're going to have close to 100,000 in that stadium. I think it seats 110. They're going to be, I think, caught up in the game. They want to win that game. This is A&M's played their last 3 games on the road, starting in Starkville, going to Tuscaloosa, then to Columbia. I mean, this can be, I'm not going to say save their season because it's probably too late for that, considering the high expectations, but this can be a turning point for them. I mean, they know that if they win this game, they can finish the season strong. And, so I think there's a lot on the line for A&M. Look, and if I'm Jimbo and I'm cashing those huge checks out there, I need a win. I need a win because, there's going to be some pressure on him, if not already. They're paying good money to have a good football program, and they're not getting it.
Right.
So, I expect there to be a little edge to A&M.
What you don't really have to stop much on Ole Miss against A&M. So with Wigman, you thinking they go conservative and try to get A-Chain going and pound the rock?
Yeah.
type deal,
Yep.
David?
I do. I do. I think there will be a little bit of an element of trying to protect the young quarterback. I think there's some of that on Ole Miss's side Saturday night. And only let him throw when you really feel comfortable. But yeah, with that chain, I mean, he's one of the best backs in the country, and Ole Miss is not doing a good job of stopping the run. The last 2 weekends combined against Auburn and LSU, they've given up over 500 yards on the ground. Auburn ran for 301, LSU I think for 250. It looks inviting if you're A&M to just, pound that line of scrimmage and see what happens. So, yeah, I think that's A&M's main plan. And, that type of offensive attack, it keeps Lane Kiffin's up-tempo, no-huddle offense on the sidelines.
So with where we are right now, Malik Heath has emerged as the top target at wide receiver?
Well, I think he and Jonathan Mingo are kind of sharing that role, but Malik Heath's certainly a welcome addition to this roster. I mean, he has been incredible. He's got great hands, and he pairs well with Jonathan Mingo. So, if you're a secondary, an opposing secondary, there's not just one Rebel that you can hone in on. You've got your plate full when it comes to those receivers.
Okay. David Johnson, Inside the Rebels. What are y'all working on this week? What's got some sizzle here over the next couple of days on the site?
Yeah, I mean, you're right now, honestly, you're nursing a wounded fan base in terms of still recovering from that loss Saturday. A lot of feelings got hurt. A lot of fans had expectations and hopes that, this was a team that could run the table, beat everybody. I don't think that's realistic. I think there are more losses ahead for Ole Miss. They just got to, hopefully pick and choose where those losses come, win the games they're capable of winning. I predicted this team would be 10-2, and I'm still standing by that prediction. I think so. I mean, there are 3 games of their 4 left on their schedule that I think you could conceivably see Ole Miss winning. One being this weekend at Texas A&M. They've got to go to Fayetteville in November. That's not going to be easy, but it's a game they could win. And then the Egg Bowl. So, 3 more wins. I mean, it puts you at 10-2. There's no way I'm picking Ole Miss to beat Alabama. It would take a seismic happenings in that game for that to happen. I think this is a team that can still go 10-2 and maybe get into an Access Bowl.
Okay. David Johnson, Inside the Rebels, 247 Sports, on the Dos Equis guest line. David, we had an Ole Miss listener ask a question about your 2 top dudes that are committed in your recruiting class. They want to know if you're 100%, if you feel 100% on Suntarine Perkins and Aiden Williams.
Never 100% on any prospect in this day and age of the NIL. And, that's just as honest as I can be. If you ask me, do I think they end up coming to Oxford and being Rebels? Yes, I do. I don't think you got to worry much about Alabama flipping Suntarine or, maybe Tennessee getting their hands on Aiden. I think they're set to come here. I think they want to play for Lane Kiffin. But in this day and age, I mean, you'd be a fool to guarantee anybody because, we don't know what the money deals are. We don't know what they're being promised at other schools. So, that's just the reality of what we deal with in recruiting nowadays. It's a free agent market, period. And, I mean, let's just say you're an insurance salesman and this insurance company is going to offer you $60,000 a year and this one's going to offer you $80,000 a year. Which one are you picking?
Right.
You're going to the higher paying job.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that's what recruiting has become. It's about money and future earnings.
We'll leave it there. He is David Johnson, Inside the Rebels, 247 Sports. They're throwing up things left and right on the site around football and recruiting, and this is a big one for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss if they want to go to
Yes,
one of those special bowls, as David just referenced, because this is it's not always a winnable game with a team like this, and it is very winnable with A&M looking discombobulated, and they don't have any kind of pulse, or they don't even know who they are, especially on offense, as David referenced. So David Johnson on the Dos Equis guest line. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, Bo. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That is a 6:30 kick, SEC Network. That's Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik, I think. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what we're looking at there. The Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-707-3750. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. As Jake Mangum says, go local. Go with the home team. You just find your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent, let them bundle your car and home, and you can save with your Farm Bureau Insurance agent in the state of Mississippi. All right, we're going to go to the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, and we'll go to RRB. What's up, man?
Okay, I need you to clarify something for me from that interview.
Okay.
In the beginning, it sounded like he was crawfishing back and forth and wasn't consistent in his opinion. In the beginning of the interview, okay, we lose to LSU, but we win at A&M, we can still win the West if we win. But then in the end of the interview, he don't see us at all beating Alabama. Okay, well that puts you at, if you win out and lose to Bama, that puts you at 10-2, right?
Yeah.
How in the world can you say we can still win the West at 10-2 if you don't beat Alabama?
I think he's just offering different scenarios, just like I do in the middle of a segment.
Well, I can understand that, but the way he presented all that was like he's contradicting his own first opinion.
I actually disagree. Hold on. I disagree because I think what he said was if you beat A&M, everything is still in front of you. That's a factual statement. But also factual is he doesn't think they are there to beat Alabama. Still a factual statement. I mean, I think both of those are factual.
Let me ask a question right quick, Bo.
Okay.
So Bama has to go to Ole Miss and LSU.
Right.
Who has the best shot to beat Bama?
LSU.
Okay, so if Ole Miss was to beat Alabama and LSU beats Alabama, LSU wins, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be nice? A three-way tie, and again, LSU knocks us out of the West. I'm out.
RB's upset.
He's not happy. I mean, I picked LSU to win the game last weekend. You know, I didn't see a 25-point blowout.
But it wasn't with 4 minutes left in the third quarter.
That's right. Mississippi State did the same thing, even into the beginning of the fourth quarter with the muff punt, right? I think it was somewhere around there.
It's interesting. David said the fan base feels like the air's been let out of the fan base.
They're deflated.
You're 7-1.
I know.
You're a favorite on the road in the SEC West.
You should win and go 8-1.
Yeah, you're a favorite on the road in the SEC West against a better team in terms of talent.
And you have a chance to win at Arkansas, and you are the overwhelming favorite in your rivalry game.
I just look at it and I go, even if you
10-2,
even if you take out everything past this week, just going into this week, you're 7-1 and you're a favorite on the road against a top 5 recruiter. Just this alone, like, I don't know what else you could want. I mean, it's like you forgot because of how easy the schedule was and how much you won. You forgot that 60% of this roster wasn't on campus last year.
Right. It's true.
In reality, 99% of the...
A ton of dudes like Dart, Judkins, Evans, Malik Heath, the two dudes on defense that are rolling.
Outside of Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin, I don't know. I'd argue there isn't another coach in your history of your program that would have the record Lane Kiffin has with the type of roster turnover he has this year.
I'm 100% in agreement.
So
I hate to do that.
You can't tell.
I don't know how Lane did it, actually, to Like, I'd love to know his approach on how he was able to take that many new players, incorporate them into the system in the same amount of time that everybody else has.
Yeah.
And now I understand, again, they pulled 4 exhibition games. So maybe, I mean, I do need to give Lane credit, but they pulled 4 exhibition games to get everybody going and feel good about the 2 systems on offense and defense. Had they pulled some of these other schedules, they would have been embarrassed at some point
Earlier,
in September.
Correct, yes.
Instead, they got embarrassed last weekend.
But I still think you sit here.
Have they played well? Sure. Do they have a great system? No doubt. Was there some fool's gold? Yes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
My deal to Ole Miss fans would be: did you enjoy the 7 weeks? Because you should have.
You better have.
Winning is the ultimate elixir. There is nothing more fun. And now you got a chance to win this. And look, man, if they win this weekend, yeah, there'll be some shoulda, woulda, coulda at LSU. But, man, you'll be back. That ice cream will taste good. You know,
when you beat an A&M, it feels good.
Yeah,
I mean, when you win an SEC West in general, it really doesn't matter because at this point, Arkansas is so good, and obviously the Egg Bowl is a rivalry. There isn't a bad team in the West that you can pick on where you say, "Oh, beating this team doesn't feel good." Literally, every win in the SEC West feels good because every team is.
Hell yeah,
tough.
It does.
Like there's
Arkansas's
not a Vanderbilt.
Tough.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like with the elevation of Arkansas and State and then Ole Miss over the last 20 years, there is no Vanderbilt, Missouri, South Carolina where you say, hey, this is an easy win and we don't care about beating them.
I think since 92, you've had Sherrill, Tuberville, Houston Nutt, Bobby Petrino, Dan Mullen, Hugh Freeze, and now Lane Train and Mike Leach win a lot of games.
Yeah.
And it made those last 3 teams, Arkansas and Ole Miss have been to the Sugar Bowl. Mississippi State's been to the Orange Bowl. MSU's been ranked number 1, Ole Miss number 3. Arkansas's been the top 5. The other division can't say anything like that.
Nope.
With their
not at all.
South Carolina, Kentucky, Vandy, and Missouri. Now, I will take – hold on. No doubt South Carolina bundled those 3 years of 11-win seasons.
Under Spurrier,
But other than that, not even close.
No.
Not even close.
The West is a different breed. It's a different animal.
So it's National Greasy Food Day. What's your favorite greasy food now that we're getting out of here?
It's an impossible question to answer. Anything fried. I thought about this earlier. If you don't like fried food, you have to give up your Southern card, right?
I agree.
I mean, that you gotta like fried foods.
French fries, onion rings, fried mushrooms.
Hush puppies, all of it. Yeah, give it to me. Fried chicken.
Ooh.
Any of it.
Really good fried chicken is amazing.
Yeah.
Golly.
Greasy food's the way to go.
Good old burger from CS's. Ooh. Hey, if you missed any of the show, you can hit Apple Podcasts, search the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Apple Podcasts, search the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Thanks for listening. Also, would love for you to download the Out of Bounds radio app. And if you get real crazy, I'd love for you to go to YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports, and hit that subscribe button. Reese Davis, host of College Game Day, 8:30 tomorrow.